Hey, what's going on? This is Matt Stone17 with FantasyBoxBreaks.com. Fantasy Box Breaks, of course, we are breaking some boxes of cards. We're doing some group breaks, but one thing that makes us different is, of course, um, some of our fantasy knowledge. Check us out, FantasyBoxBreaks.com. Right now, I am going to go over some of our Week 6 Daily League plays. Again, uh, this is for, of course, Daily League. I'll give you some of my top picks again for Week 6. So at QB, we are absolutely loving Carson Palmer. He is on a roll. Keep on riding him. Of course, he is going to Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh kind of has a slightly hobbled secondary. Their defense is not one to be very feared like the days of old. So again, I think Carson Palmer has a good day. Could be could be played a lot, especially in daily leagues because of how well he's been playing. But if you want someone consistent, that's who you're going with. The other play that I like is actually Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer got the starting job back because how he played. I think Malik got the wind knocked out of him. Brian Hoyer came in and kept the job, wouldn't let go. He was making play after play. And now he gets to start at Jacksonville. Of course, Jacksonville is letting a lot of points go through. And same thing, not a strong backfield. He gets Arian Foster fully healthy. No more limited Arian Foster. So of course, he has one of the most dynamic wide receivers in the game this year in DeAndre Hopkins. Why wouldn't you roll with him? I think the last two games he posted 20 plus points. The last game he posted 20 plus. The game before when he took over mid game was 17. So again, great matchup for Brian Hoyer. Our third quarterback, a lot of people are down on, and I get it because of the numbers, and because of the age. Maybe that gave it away. But I love Peyton Manning to come out in Cleveland and kind of shove it in the media's face, right? Whenever you start talking about old man Manning, whenever you start speculating or people asking questions to the coach about when they're going to bench Peyton Manning comes out with a vengeance, right? And why not do that on the lowly Cleveland Browns? Of course, Johnny Football is back in the media with some road rage and some drinking and some alleged um, fight with a girlfriend, and that can never be good. That's going to be a distraction. Those players are going to get tons of questions all the rest of the week. So, anyways, but back to Manning, a great play against Cleveland at Cleveland. Um, I think he comes back and he kind of shows people that he could still play. It's a statement game for him. At running back, Foster. We already talked about Arian Foster versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville got absolutely torched by Doug Martin, Tampa Bay. 3 touchdowns for Doug Martin against him last year. Foster is healthy. He just came out saying that he's over, mentally that injury that he had. He's going to he's going to be a big play. I think a lot of people will play him, and rightfully so. But the only thing that can stop him, knock on wood, would be another injury. But Arian Foster is definitely a must start. Last week he had 41 rushing yards in limited carries, and 77 receiving yards. So this is really his first true game back, and he gets a great matchup. Second, Chris Ivory. We won him against Washington. Chris Ivory went bonanza on Miami. for 166 yards before the bye. Now he gets a bye. He got some rest. He gets to watch some tape on Washington even more. I think he goes pretty well. Washington does not have a very scary defense. They're actually playing really good against the pass. But Ivory, I feel like he's going to be getting in the end zone. And especially the defense. You know, New York Jets defense, I will mention them later. They are going to be one of our plays, but they should be able to cut the field in half some possessions. So again, Chris Ivory, I think is a good play. I think the Giants or the Jets get ahead of Washington Redskins pretty early in this game, and it goes to the run. Next play would be Matt Forte versus Detroit Lions. The Detroit how about the Motor City Kitties again are 0-5 and not doing so well. Chicago not really doing so well, but one guy is, and that is Matt Forte. Um, Alshon Jeffries is very questionable. He's been missing so many weeks. Even if he plays, I think he's going to be limited. Um, Martellus Bennett came up. I think got injured during practice, and he might be missing. So who else are they going to go to? Of course, their stud Matt Forte. I think he catches a lot of passes in this one. Detroit Lions, again, a matchup that they get scored on. The next play, running back, goes to the New England Patriots playing against the Indianapolis Colts. LeGarrette Blount. Um, Dion Lewis is really playing good, but LeGarrette Blount is sneakily, being very useful. Um, the last two games against Indy, New England Patriots had a super run heavy approach, right? You look at last year, that was that 4 touchdown game for Jonas Gray, right? 4 touchdowns to Jonas Gray, who's almost, I think he's in Miami, but buried on the depth chart. Um, but then they go into the playoffs. They signed LeGarrette Blount after all that happened, after Jonas Gray became a name. LeGarrette Blount, was complaining on Pittsburgh and about not getting the ball because of Le'Veon Bell, rightfully so. And then Blount came on with the Patriots, helped them win a Super Bowl, went to Indy in the playoffs, went for 148 yards and 3 touchdowns. So that's 7 rushing touchdowns in 2 games that the Patriots win against Indy. So why not? Why do you not think Belichick will go to what was working, right? A lot of people are playing. I'm gonna have to remember this name. Charkandrick West, right? The new KC running back. After sadly Jamal Charles goes down, West is a very buzzy name, right? The problem is Nile Davis is still there. Lots of people seem. I have a feeling lots of people will play West because he's pretty cheap out there in daily leagues. But a report today just said Nile Davis is still atop the depth chart. Yes, it's just on writing, and yes, I think West will get his fair share of carries. They're going at Minnesota. Minnesota does not have a bad defense. Yes, they've let some rushers get by them, but again, I'm not super secure on West. It's kind of a show me what you got state for me. Next up, a wide receiver. We are going Larry Fitzgerald. He is absolutely on fire, showing that he is young again and becoming fantasy relevant. Uh, he works wonders when he has a quarterback, doesn't he? Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald are way on the same page right now. And of course, Larry Fitzgerald is playing at the Steelers at Pittsburgh. Well, guess where he went to college? He went to college at University of Pittsburgh. So it's kind of like almost like a home game to him. Keep rolling with him. He's gonna be paying some dividends. And like I said with Carson Palmer, it is an injured secondary where they're trying to scramble up some corners to cover these wide receivers. Next up, Dante Moncrief. So again, we're going to the Patriots. I think the Patriots do get up on Indy by halftime, and Indy, hopefully, again, this play is contingent upon Andrew Luck playing, Andrew Luck starting. So it does look like Luck is back. He did have a full practice today, and he had a couple practices uh, throughout the week. Dante Moncrief is cheap. He didn't do too much with Matt Hasselbeck at the helm, but in the first 3 games he had 3 touchdowns, and those 3 games were with Mr. Andrew Luck. So go ahead and roll with Dante Moncrief. Um, I do like I do like Emmanuel Sanders versus the Cleveland Browns. Same thing, again, you kind of notice I'm matching a wide receiver with my quarterback plays. Again, I think Manning is uh, is going to prove some media people wrong, and Emmanuel Sanders has been kind of his go-to, his deep threat, his safety valve. He's getting open, so I'm playing Emmanuel Sanders at Cleveland. My super sleeper for wide receiver is going to go to Stephon Diggs. He is a rookie, electric rookie in Minnesota. Over there in Minnesota, they are playing versus at home versus Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City is, I think, they're very close to dead last in the pass defense. Yes, Mr. Teddy Bridgewater is kind of playing a little pedestrian. Obviously, they got AP back. That's kind of kind of roaming right now, doing really well. But again, Stephon Diggs, before the bye, he had an 88-yard game. He, again, had comparisons to Antonio Brown. Yes, it was it was one of his teammates that made that comparison, but I think this guy's the real deal. Charles over there, Charles Johnson is injured. He is questionable. He might be playing, but even if he does, he is not producing whatsoever. He is a bust this year. So look for Stephon Diggs, who came off a really good game before the bye. Look for him to start getting more and more plays, and I think he does well against a weak Kansas City Chiefs defense. For tight end, I don't like the most expensive tight ends this week. So I'll give you a couple of my cheaper picks. One, Julius Thomas, right? Jacksonville is looking good in the pass. I mean, they're still losing. They're not winning all the games, but the Allen Hearns and Allen Robinson are doing their thing. They're very fantasy relevant. This is Julius Thomas's first game that he will be having a whole week of practice, getting on the same page with Bortles. This is the first game he's not going to be limited. So, I mean, why not play him against Houston? The Houston Texans aren't that elite defense that people thought they would be. J.J. Watt is kind of coming to having a down year. You're not hearing his name too much because I think they're just double and tripling him because the rest of the defense isn't really doing too much. So again, he got paid for a reason. Julius Thomas in free agency, he's going to be a target. He'll be open with both Allens doing really well. I think he's a pretty solid play. The next one, again, if he plays, I would like to play him, Crockett Gilmore versus San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco, again, is not, their defense is not looking so good. Again, obliterated by defenders kind of leaving right before the season, right? Retiring and all kinds of stuff. They're in a mess. But Crockett Gilmore is questionable, but he has been practicing the last couple of days. And again, it is against San Francisco. Crockett Gilmore had 2 touchdowns and 80 something yards in in his only game that he played. Again, he got hurt the next game. He only played a quarter or so, and this that 2 touchdowns came in a game without Steve Smith. So again, Steve Smith is going to be out. Who else they have? Of course, you have Aiken at wide receiver, who's a pretty decent target, but the ball has to go somewhere, and I think Crockett Gilmore is going to be a good play almost for until Steve Smith comes back. Um, on the defensive end, we are going to go with the Jets. I already mentioned them against the Washington Redskins. Washington Redskins really haven't seen a defense like this year. Again, the Jets are their money. They got some big offensive defensive tackles. They have a crazy good secondary with, of course, Calvin Pryor on safety. They have Buster Screen on one corner. We have again, we got to check on Cromartie's status, but Daryl Reeves, of course, and on Washington's end on offense. How much can you really trust um, Kirk, right? So, anyways, we are gonna go with the Jets. The next one, we want the Denver Broncos. Keep rolling with the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos are #1 defense in the league. Absolutely, uh, kind of carrying the team a little bit, right? Um, the team not doing so well in rushing yards. The team, Peyton Manning again, those question marks. But Cleveland Browns, like I said, yes, McCown is doing wonders. He is kind of trying to carry that team on his back, but again, this is going to be the toughest defense he has seen all year, and I don't think he's up for the task. I think he was a little hobbled this last week with an ankle, and but he's been practicing. I'm not going to say he's in totally injured or anything like that, but I mean, he popped up on the injury report. That's enough for me, especially against the #1 defense in the league. I think this is not going to be looking so well for the Cleveland Browns. So go with the Denver Broncos. Other than that, guys, this is Fantasy Box Breaks. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to see anything, as far as any other news, check out the website. Come break with us as well. We are hobby box breakers. We have some breaks on eBay. 2014 Panini Playbook. We just got done opening 2 boxes of that. We have 2013 Top Supreme out on eBay as well. That will be a 4 box break. Get your bids in. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. All of our contact info is on the website fantasyboxbreaks.com. Follow us on Twitter at fantasyboxbreak or at stone17. I'm always open for sit and start, questions, trades, anything. So guys, thank you again. That's me signing off.